Hey everybody, Jordan here, youth pastor at Gethsemane. If you don't know who I am, Aftershock Student Ministries is kind of my thing at Gethsemane. I get to run the student ministry, and man, I am missing you. Whether you are a regular Aftershock student or if somebody has passed this on to you and your family and you're checking out, and this has been a struggle. This whole COVID-19 deal has been a struggle. I know that there are many youth groups and churches in the area that youth ministries have started to meet. Honestly, I'm not there yet. As a teacher, as a lover of people and kids and wanting to keep everybody safe, I know that the last thing that we want to do at Aftershock is to open our doors to start meeting, whether it's outside or inside, trying to practice that social distancing, not hugging, not high-fiving, not playing any games that have any contact of items that would transfer anything between us, and then still finding out that somebody spread something and having to close down and having to make those dreaded phone calls. So we're trying to be really cautious. So before I get started on what's on my mind, I just want to share that there is stuff to come. We do not live in fear. And this Saturday night, the youth leaders are coming over to my house to eat ice cream and to share ideas and to come up with a plan. And one of our ideas is to have a movie night out back behind the church where we'll have spots marked off. You'll bring your own chair. You'll sit in your area with your family if you have siblings that come to youth group with you. You'll stay in that spot. We'll serve some food and snacks because you can't have a movie without that. That is prepackaged. We'll make sure that we're sanitizing and everything, so there won't be any physical contact or anything. But we'll at least be close enough that even during a movie we can chat, talk, catch up, say hi to each other, see some smiling faces. So keep a lookout for what's to come. We're really hoping to do something to get us back face to face. So with that, I just want to share what's on my mind. We've kind of been on some social media silence here for Aftershock, and it's been kind of intentional. I know that there's been a lot on people's minds, and I know for me, balancing work as a school counselor, my kids being students and doing work, and then also doing the youth group stuff online, it was a lot. And I know from talking to many of you that the work and the workload is a lot, and being around your family and was a lot. And then we transitioned into this period where there was sports starting and some trips were happening. So we just knew that it was probably right to just to give everybody a break, give them some time, some space before we kind of get back into full gear. And I needed it. I'm hopeful that you were able to use it, but it also made me realize I really, really miss being around my people. That's you, the students of Aftershock, the students of Federalsburg and Hurlock and Seaford, Laurel, wherever you come from. I just realized that I missed you. So I was trying to think, what's on my mind? So a few years ago, many of you were here helping the Forson family move into the house that I live in now. That's where I'm recording this, is from my house, and it was a crazy time when we discovered that we were expecting our third child. Amanda was 7 months along when we discovered that. We had just had Gabe, and Gia was a few years old, and there was a lot going on during that time. And you all, many of you, got us into this new home, moved us in one day, which was pretty amazing. And during that time, we only painted one room. The only room that we painted in our whole house when we moved in was the boys' room. We kind of used some other areas, and we had Mr. Walt paint that room. We had someone paint it, right? We had a professional paint it. So I really didn't have very much thought process put into it. One thing that I realized is I really dread going to the store to choose colors for a wall. Amanda loves it, me not so much. You look at a shade of a color and there's hundreds of that shade of color, like a blue or a red. There's hundreds of those shades. Our boys' room is blue, and we had to go through many shades to finally rest on the one that we wanted. And that was almost 4 years ago. And during that time, we also purchased some paint for the room that I'm sitting in right now. The room that I'm sitting in right now is what would have probably been the original living room, and we didn't really use it much at all. There was a lot of dents in the wall, some paint peeling from the cracks, and where there's a seam, and I kept saying, I'll do it. We bought paint, and it's been just sitting there, and it just needed a lot of work. Picking tan is a really hard color to pick, as you see behind me. I remember looking at all those tans and I'm like, there's thousands of shades of tan. Well, after 4 years, I finally painted this room. That's one good thing that this quarantine, this COVID stuff has brought, is a lot of free time at home. So it took several weeks once school closed, but I put a lot of time and effort into painting this room. Being stuck at home, you got to do something, right? So I primed it, got it ready, did all the sanding, filling in of cracks, and Amanda made a comment that she was hoping that she still liked the color that she picked out many years ago. And I had some news for her. That paint was going on the walls whether she liked it or not. So she was stuck with it. But then during this whole time what I'm getting to is colors. And it really made me go back to something I'd read many, many years ago. And I started seeing something going around on Facebook by some friends of mine. And they were asking their friends what color they thought they were based off of this chart that had words to describe what they were. So on this chart I put up there, it has different colors and it had words to describe who they were. So they had to choose a color, put it in the comments, and kind of describe, oh, well, you're this, and this. That's why I chose that color. And it was just interesting to read people's comments, and they were going back and forth as to what color they are. And I was just thinking, there's a science that goes behind this. Did you know that there's a whole psychology behind colors? Blue means creativity. Red makes your heart race, and it makes you pay attention to details. Green makes people not trust you. Purple symbolizes mystery. Orange increases oxygen flow and supply to your brain, and it stimulates mental activity. Red and yellow, when they're put together, they're supposed to make you hungry. Get that. So think of all the chains, food chains around: McDonald's, Red Robin, Arby's, Hardee's, Sonic, Wawa. The list goes on. If you look at their logos, they have red, yellowish, orange colors mixed together in their logos. That's why. There's a psychology behind it. So this got me thinking beyond the walls of my house that I was painting the tan behind me. Especially during this crazy time with so much negativity and hatred and arguing and scolding and intolerance going around. And social media sometimes makes that worse. Having a phone on your in your hand with a camera on it and being able to scold and yell at people. And I know if you're like me and you're scrolling through, there's thousands of videos of people that are acting out in anger and frustration. So it made me think, what color am I painting? Get that. What color are you painting? What color are we painting the world around us? When we go out in public, what color are we painting? I mean, the places that you go every day right now, whether that's the store, Walmart, gas station, whatever it is, your baseball teams, whoever you encounter, what are you painting? What color are you leaving behind? Maybe I'm blue sometimes when I go out and I'm inspiring people to create things that are meaningful in life. Maybe I'm red sometimes, where I'm challenging people to look at things that they have never looked at before, or to maybe look at things differently. I hope that's a color that I can paint. Maybe I'm green sometimes, where I'm painting this idea that maybe I don't trust people, or maybe people don't trust me. Well, whatever the case be, there's a really cool verse in Psalms if you read it out of the Message translation. In the Message translation, it's out of Psalm 17:7. And in that translation, it says this. It says, paint graffiti grace on the fences. How cool is that? Paint graffiti grace on fences. In the NIV, which I regularly read, it says, show the wonder of your great love. But I think the paint graffiti grace on the fences, man, that's just such a beautiful terminology. Doesn't that sound just like a challenge. Paint graffiti grace on the fences. Maybe you really need to know what grace is if you want to understand that verse. Grace is getting what you do not deserve. We sometimes group this word with the word mercy. Mercy and grace. Mercy, which means not getting what you do deserve. Grace is getting what you do not deserve. I mean, when is the last time that we really loved someone without an agenda? Get that, without an agenda. Not to change their mind, not to make them change their whole philosophy of beliefs, not to make them think what we think, not to make them believe what we believe, but just to love them without an agenda, without anything that attached to it. When have we done that? Not because of what they can give us, but because they were created in God's image to just love them. That we love them even if our beliefs or our thoughts or our conclusions on a topic or were not identical to theirs, but because that they are valued by God, the Creator, the same God that values us. Listen, you are the artist. Whether you want to be or not, whether you think that you are not, you are the artist. God has placed a paintbrush in your hands so that you can paint graffiti grace on the fences. So your challenge is to go out, pick up your brush, and to paint this world in the colors that it really needs to see. So go out and paint graffiti grace on the fences. I want you to know that I miss you and I care about you. And if no one has told you yet today, I love you. Someone has to tell you that. I love you and I care about you. So until we can see face to face, take care.